What is up, guys? Got all kinds of stuff going on today. Oh, I hope everyone had a great Friday and a great Sunday. It was a great day here. I don't know what it was like where you were at, but not too hot, not too cold. Kind of the perfect day. Couldn't have asked for better weather. Really wanted to go out and ride the bike today. Just didn't get there. Too much stuff going on. Had to do the first oil change on my van. Got that accomplished. Of course, did some other things. Got a haircut. Uh, went by Shandor Music. And what did I do after that? Oh, Linnell got a new exerciser. So had to put that together. Um,
It's Saturday, not Sunday.
um, oh, yeah. I think I put the right window on the screen.
Yeah, but you said Sunday.
That's because I have to work tomorrow. And I'm thinking this is my last day off. I got a squirrel brain, guys. My whole life pretty much revolves around my work schedule. So my days are based on what days I have to work. So tomorrow is the first day of the week. So time to get your butt up and go to work. Um, Everyone knows I'm an Adventist, and in my world, today is the Sabbath. Tomorrow is the first day of the week. So working tomorrow is fine. Um, so I got to go to work tomorrow. So yeah, I'm falling really behind on everything, guys. You know, I don't know if this is a sign for summer or not, but work everything. It's been tough on me the past really 4 weeks, putting in overtime, um, and a little bit harder work as far as what we've been doing, things that I'm not used to doing. So it's been tough on me. I've been coming home, trying to relax a little bit, play the guitar a little bit, but it's just getting to me. I've been not getting enough rest. I know you guys have been there. Everyone gets there. You get sometimes we just get that time where it's just we're not sleeping good. Work is stressful, and this is the only thing that really takes me off of work. I come home and I plug this thing in, get a little bit of time to relax, just to jam. And I really, actually, this week I actually did get to do that because I didn't really work on the wing this week that much because most of the problems we had worked out last week, my issue was output. And I have changed some of the gain stages in the wing just to give it more output. But I've noticed from where I had it last week to where I have it this week, when you start turning up the gains where I have them, they start getting pretty sensitive to distances off the microphone. They're much more, I guess, dynamic because the gain on the preamps is a lot higher. Ooh, Cocoa Fairy early tonight, guys. I didn't even have time to have dinner, so my stomach, everything today's been off. Didn't didn't really get breakfast when I was supposed to. I had a late breakfast, and then I had a sandwich and no dinner. So today's been one of those days just trying to cram everything in because I have to work tomorrow. Well, I guess now's the time. Has anyone bought anything new? Do we have any new items in the group? Has anyone bought a guitar, an effects pedal, new amplifier, anything of that nature? Um, I picked up my layaway. I think everyone saw it. I had a Fender Telecaster on layaway, so I picked that up. Yeah, well, I tried that Devastator, and she started throwing stuff at me out of the kitchen. So I don't know. I'm trying, guys, but she's just kind of refusing the camera. So it'll be up to you guys to get her to put one in. I have an extra one. We can go through the cameras real quick. I did figure out how to do that. So here's the one camera. You can see there's my Coco, there's my T, and look at how clean my work desk is now. The advantages of the wing rack. Now I did get my input selector in. And I modified this unit. If you look at these online, the P16, all these are on the same side. So I took the unit apart and cut the board in half, and then I flipped it around. That way I can have ins and outs all in the face. And you run these to the inputs on the back. So instead of having to reach around to the back of the machine, you can do your loops and you're coming out of one channel into another. So this is a good mod for that. Maybe I should do a video on this. It's the ART P16. Really inexpensive unit, but it makes, if you're reaching around and doing a lot of plugging in, and it's a pain in the butt on your XLRs, these are inexpensive, and this is a good little mod trick. That way you're not having to plug in and unplug in the back. So that's our one camera. If I go over here, I can make it switch to the other camera. So that's our third camera. And then the easy camera, those two cameras I have to switch in OBS. This, in OBS's feed. This camera, all I had to do is push a button. I can go back to that camera, but if I want to switch to the other one, I have to go over here in OBS and make the change in the program. It's because it sees both of them as a wireless camera. But I do have three cameras, so it is capable. We are capable now of having a Linnell cam. So I'll let you guys beat her up to make that happen. I did try though. She just she said no.
Vox said he ordered a single coil size humbucker to put in a Strat. Does that count?
Yes, it does.
And Trucker Bob bought a EMG 81 and 85 today for his Warlock.
Ooh, oh my gosh. I'm thinking Trucker Bob likes EMGs. I'm pretty sure. Now the humbucker single rail, humbucker single coil size, I assume that's like a hot rail pickup. I'm guessing. That's what I'm thinking. It's probably very similar to a Seymour Duncan hot rail. I had those in one of my Fender Strats. I had a Fender American Strat, and I didn't care for it was an American. It was, I don't know, maybe 16 years ago. I bought it. It's baby blue. It was a beautiful guitar. And I put the hot rail here and two other single coils up top from Seymour Duncan. I kept hitting the volume knob on it and ended up selling it. That was my second Strat, my second attempt at a Stratocaster. And both of them were American Strats. That was before Fender kind of jumped the shark and had 7 different product lines. They had Fender American, Fender Mexico, and I think Fender Japan. They didn't make anything in Indonesia at that time, not even the FMT. The Indonesian and China stuff was all Squire. So I want to say it was like $1,200 for that guitar, which was a lot of money when I purchased it. I just didn't keep them. The one that I did the most work on, I bought a Fender Vintage Vibe, and I routed it out for a Killer 2700. Yeah, my dumminess sold that guitar, and I should have just ordered another body for it and put it back to stock, because I put the 2700 Killer in it, and then I put the EMG David Gilmour pickup set in it. That was a killer guitar. I sold it because I just didn't play it. But I didn't relocate the volume knob either. It was an awesome guitar. I just never played it.
Nicholas said next few days he'll be looking at a Japan Ibanez SG.
Ooh. Ibanez Japan. I'm assuming that's Fujigen. Is that correct? If that's I'm thinking Devastator's an Ibanez nut. He can probably, is the new Ibanez's made is all the new Ibanez's in Japan made in the Fujigen plant? I think they are. I'm not too sure. Ibanez SG. I'm trying to think what model that is. When you say SG, I think of the Gibson, and I'm sure it's not like the Gibson model. Ibanez come out with a bunch of new models this year, guys. If you're not familiar, if you're not up with it, I was looking at them last night. They have released an Ibanez neck through body guitar with a tremolo for $679. Yeah, $679 for a neck through, one that's got the way cut out here with the tremolo system for $679. I think it's an RGR model. Um, so I'm kind of curious to, I don't know, that guitar and the RGR 330. It's back up to $450. That's their cheapest trim based guitar. I'd like to order one of those in. You guys can go to Discord and post in general on the next guitar that you guys would kind of like to see reviewed. I'm thinking about that 330 Ibanez. It does have the same bridge that the Jim Jr. has. That would be a good guitar for us to review. And then I might, we haven't done a Firefly or we've done a Leo James in the last 2 months. I might just order a Firefly or a Groat, or I'm not going to order one of those Acklocks. I'm just not, because that company, the last two production runs, it's just been funny.
Trucker Bob said, "Bro, Morel Music here in Bristol has a PV with a Kaler for $5.99. If you want, you can see it online, and they have layaway too.
Who is it?
It's a place,
Mora Music?
Morel Music in Bristol, Tennessee.
It depends on what year it is. Peavey had Kaler from, I think, 86 to about 94, 95. And I think in 94, they went to the Peavey branded and licensed Floyd Rose Bridge. I could be wrong about that. If someone's more of a Peavey nut than me, I think it was right around 84, 85 is when they went to the, and they could have only done that on the lesser expensive models, but I'm pretty sure by 94, no, excuse me, 94 or 95, they had switched to the Peavey branded stuff. And I believe it was 89, late 89, when they switched from the 2700 Killer to the Kaler Spider. I'm thinking, because when I ordered my Vandenberg, I placed the order. It should have came with a 2700, and it didn't. It come with the Spider over the lawsuit items, and that was a 90 model. So, yeah, it had to have been 89. Somewhere in 89 is when they switched. Mr. Fat says, Firefly from the official store. I think they've changed for shopping. 200 and change. Yeah, they're kind of all over the place, Firefly. They kept raising their prices, and they've kind of backed off of that. I did look at the site the other day, and I think they realized, you know, people talk about budget brands. If a guitar is worth X, okay, people will go, well, it creeped up a little bit, but I'm going to get it. I like it. As long as the quality of the guitar is there, nothing will be said. Okay? Then they'll do another production run, and it creeps up again. As long as they keep up the quality for what they're asking for, no one will complain. Firefly started getting into about the $320 to $350 range shipped. Yeah. And then they were sending a substandard product. That killed them. So I think that's kind of set the company back a little bit. Leo James, they do the exact same thing. They if you go on Amazon, they had the Leo James Select, where you could go on there and they would actually show you the top on the guitar and show you, this is the one you're getting. And they were trying to get $499, $399, $450, and those guitars sat. I've been watching them for over a year now, and they're just now starting to sell them. Well, they lowered the price to $350, and the regular price is like $299 for some of the models that I was looking at. So for $50 extra, you get to pick your top. And if it had a pretty top, you go for it. But a lot of those epoxy top guitars that they were selling, you might get a really pretty one. You might get the ugliest thing. You didn't know what you were going to get. I know the epoxy one that we reviewed on our channel, it wasn't that pretty. And of course, their stock photo is one of the best looking ones. You're like, oh, yeah, that's cool. And then you get it, it's kind of bland. So they got this bright idea. Well, we're going to almost double the price, but then you get to see the product. That didn't work for them. And then they've just released a new guitar line a couple months ago. I don't think that's doing too good either. I don't hear too much buzz about it. They've got to get their manufacturing down and get their frets and necks right. If they concentrate on that, I think whoever's doing their epoxy tops and stuff like that, I think they're doing a good job. They just need to get their quality control underhand.
I looked up this Peavey. It's an 87 USA Impact 2.
Oh, okay. I'm not a big Impact fan because of the headstock. I like the Vandenberg headstock, the Nitro headstock. If it was a Nitro, I would be on the phone right now saying, yeah, wrap it up. I'll buy it. But right now, I'm just not into the Nitros. And I know the Nitros were good guitars. They did make some Nitros that had it is a Kaler bridge, but I don't remember the model number of the Kaler. And I'm not going to say that it's a killer because they did put the killer on some of the Nitro or Impact 2s as well. I didn't think they did, but I've seen pictures of them. So most likely this particular one is the short one like this that has the big round knob fine tuners on it with the bar. It's a good tremolo. It's a good guitar. It's just not the Peaveys that I like. Another good one was the Tracer. If you can find a Tracer, they did make the Tracer with the 2700. They also made the Tracer with the Spider. The high-end Tracer has the step in the headstock. Those are the ones worth money. The other stock Tracer, it's the same banana headstock, but it doesn't have the step downs in the headstock. So that's just a little Peavey history. I know Steve was looking for a Peavey for a while. I don't think you can go wrong with the Tracer. If you're trying to get into that type guitar, buy a Tracer right now because they're starting to go up in value too. The Nitros are already there. You can't. A good Nitro is going to cost you $900 to $1,200. A Vandenberg in poor shape is going to cost you $1,500. You find one in good shape, they're going to want $2,000 for it. Not this new fake Peavey thing that they call a Vandenberg that has a Floyd Rose on it. That a Vandenberg would, yeah, that's not a Vandenberg with a Floyd Rose on it. Yeah, they should have went to Dave Kaler and said, look, we want to redo this guitar. We know you can make the 2700 killer. That's past now. We want to recreate the 1987 Vandenberg just like it was. Floyd Rose isn't going to sue him now. It's past the statute of limitations. Yes, I understand it would be a $900 guitar bridge, but they're asking $3,000 for that guitar, and it's made outside of Russia somewhere. I can't remember where it's made.
I think they're made in
Czech Republic. That's it. Okay, put that original bridge in it, and put a Seymour Duncan distortion here, and maybe a hot rail up in the single coil position. And if you're going to make it in the Czech Republic, even with that, $3,000. They're doing $3,000 with a crappy Floyd Rose and the standard Seymour Duncan pickups. I can't swallow that. It's not a Vandenberg. It's not a Vandenberg with a Floyd Rose on it. So I skipped on it. When I heard they were going to redo it, I was so psyched that they were going to remake a Vandenberg. Here, I'll show you. This is a Peavey Vandenberg. Okay, it's not some recreation of a fake Vandenberg. It's a Vandenberg. This is what a Vandenberg is supposed to be. Peavey, build me this guitar. 2-piece neck. I don't need this little maple, inlay stripe. Build me a 2-piece solid neck, just like you did. Put good tuners on it. Put me nice pickups and a Kaler bridge on it. Build me this guitar. I don't need a flame maple top and all this fancy binding. Build me this. This is what I want. And this is what your fan base wanted. They wanted this one, the pink one, a red one, and a blue one. And the white. But the white didn't sell too well. But they didn't do it. They turned around and made one, put all this fancy binding on it, Then they tried to put the puzzle inlay on it. I get it. It's a nicer inlay. But I would rather you put the dot inlays on it and give me a Kaler. I get it. The Kaler's $200 more than the Floyd. Give me these dots, these inlays, and put the Kaler back on it. Give me solid brass hardware. See how the knobs the finish is worn off? Fender's bad for that too. They claim they're going to do this and this and this, and then they'll cheat something. If you're going to re-release a product, try to re-release the product. There was a reason, especially if it's something that's popular. There was something about the instrument that makes it popular. The Vandenberg was popular due to two reasons: the cutout here and the bridge. That's what made this guitar, and the offset melted body. This was the first guitar that had this weird offset where they took a Strat body and it kind of looks like it was melted. Nobody did that. Now you look at guitars and the back of the guitar will kind of move back, but this was in like 86, 87. Peavey was really the first company to do that to a Strat, to kind of take the body and distort it and make something different. That's what sold the guitar. And then once it got in people's hands, they realized how superior the bridge was, and it was just a monster. They should have took this guitar and put the nitro. Well, technically it is the nitro, but it's 24.75. So they should have done a nitro version in the 24.75, and they should have done a nitro version with this pickup configuration, okay, and a non-signature model. Don't give us the cutaways, but give us this pickup configuration with the standard headstock without the reverse. But they didn't. So there was a lot of lost opportunities that Peavey had, and that they could still capitalize on it. They had the product. That product would sell today. There's still people like me that would buy that product, but you got to make the product feasible for people. You can't charge $3,000 for a guitar made in the Czech Republic that has QC problems. You just can't do it. LTD, you can buy an ESP for that price. You can buy a high-end Paul Reed Smith for that price. You can buy a Kiesel for that price. Let's go down the list of how many guitars you can buy at the $3,000 price mark that have a proven quality track record. Kiesel, proven quality track record. You may not like Kiesel, but they build a solid guitar. Okay? You can't compare the two. You can buy a high-end Kiesel, set up like this. Now, of course, it's going to have the crappier Floyd Rose bridge on it. And if you're a Floyd Rose fanboy, I'm sorry. I'm a Kaler guy, always have been. The Kaler was superior. That's why Floyd Rose sued him, because it was a superior bridge. And if it wasn't a superior bridge, then Floyd Rose would have allowed Dave Kaler to put license to buy on the 2700. Notice they didn't do that. But they did on the Spider. Why? Because the Spider's not the 2700. It wasn't the one taking share away from Floyd Rose. See, Floyd Rose couldn't make the 2700, even though if he would have said, yes, if you put license by, you can. Because the mechanics in the back of that tremolo, Dave Kaler had the patents on. So they sued him because it was like a Floyd Rose, but Floyd Rose couldn't produce it, so they said, you can't produce it either. It was a really crap thing Floyd Rose did. And I hated Floyd Rose for years over that. You know, you get to the point where it's kind of like, well, that was a real, excuse my French, dick move. You know, I get it. Floyd Rose was very, very big. I mean, you got to also think this was right at the time when most guitar companies couldn't get a Floyd Rose. Floyd Rose was selling directly to Kramer. So guitar companies couldn't do the Floyd. So you had to buy the Floyd separate and pay a luthier to install it. This was 86, 87. Kaler had all the rights to the Floyd Rose. They had it monopolized. So when you put that in the mix, now you start to understand why. Because who was doing Kaler's? Well, you had BC Rich. You had Charvel was doing Kaler's. You had more people doing the custom one-off stuff going Kaler. And Floyd had already trapped himself in, even though it was a limited trap, to Kramer. So his aftermarket bridge, selling one-off bridges, you know, it was a funny thing. YouTube some of the logistics on some of that, and pay attention. Watch a bunch of them before you form an opinion on it. And then there's Lex something on here on YouTube. He took a job with Dave Kaler, and they do a stream together, and you get a lot of inside information from those guys. That's a pretty good stream if you're into tremolo chat and history. They go back over some of the wars and fights between manufacturers and the Ibanez bridges, and it's pretty cool. They'll go over the engineering on why certain, like the Wonder Bar Washburn has. Does anyone remember the Wonder Bar? They take these old bridges apart and they go, well, this is why this failed. This was really a good design. And he's pretty honest. He goes, well, this was very creative at the time. And then this made me think to do this. And then they did this. And they'll sit down with all these different bridges and take them apart and look at why it was done. I'm kind of geeky on that kind of stuff. So when they have those teardown videos, I love watching that. Guys, I watch YouTube just like you do. You know, when it comes to Kaler, I like watching the Kaler content. I'm a Kaler guy. But now there's a lot of bridges out there, guys, that you can get. I forget the name of that bridge that I want to get next. When you bend the bar, your chording stays in tune. It acts as a true vibrato unit. Okay. It stays in pitch and in tune as you dive down. The Kaler and the Floyd Rose do not. Most tremolos don't. I forget. I think it's made in Switzerland. I can't remember. If anyone knows the product I'm talking about, it's $700 for the bridge, for the nice one. So I'd like to do a project with one of those. I mean, if you're doing dive bombs, you're only usually doing one string, so it doesn't matter. But if you want to do, I think we were talking about yesterday on the stream, if you're looking at a big hollow body and you're doing a lot of flutters and stuff, the difference between these bridges and that one, when you listen to it, when they flutter, you can hear the tuning stay consistent between the strings. So the note just, it flows and sounds so much better, but it's expensive. And then you got to look, if people like aftermarket support, there is none. That's why Floyd Rose is so popular, because everybody and their brother makes Floyd Rose parts. That's why the Strat and the Telly's popular. Everybody and their brother make Telly and Strat parts. You can buy a body, a neck, a pickup, anything for those two models. You can buy that. You can build any guitar that you want in a Strat and Telly, and there'll be nothing Fender. You can build a very classic version, a hot rodded version. There's just everybody makes those parts. That's why you see so many companies that can have a really inexpensive price, like these budget companies on the tellies and stuff. There's a lot of parts out there.
You were talking about the Matrim?
Matrim, yeah. I think that's what it's called, a Matrim.
Yeah, Potentially Works said Matrim.
Yeah, that's a nice bridge. Then there's this one channel on YouTube. He's evidently got something to do with it. They make a stainless steel bridge, and he crows about it a lot. But he also has a little bit of Floyd Rose content on there. The machining on it looks fantastic, and they've built it to fit the Floyd Rose route. The issue is the tremolo's a lot shorter, and it looks, when you put it in the guitar, it looks kind of stupid because if your guitar is routed out for pulls, it looks like you got a big swimming pool behind your tremolo.
What millimeter pick do you use?
This is a 1.5, and that's thanks to Nicholas. He sent me a bunch of these Flow picks made by Flow. So this is a 1.5, and I have a Flow 2.0 right here. And you can see the difference. This one isn't as translucent. Exact same material. So if you try to look through the pick, and now the 1.5. So you can see my finger through the pick. But on this one, you can barely see my finger through the pick. I love these picks. Right now I'm kind of stuck on these. And this one, believe it or not, I've worn down pretty good. I was using the Tortex picks, and I would tear up a Tortex pick. Really, it would lose its feel in 2 days. And that was only playing for maybe an hour. So I think if you were playing hard with it and you were on stage, you'd probably go through 2 or 3 of those picks. They were just so soft and they wore quick. These picks really do seem to hold up well. And it's funny because he said that he was watching the stream and he watched the way I played, and he said, I think these picks would suit you. So he actually sent me picks. So thank you so much. And it has improved my guitar playing. And I'm still learning. I think, well, every guitar player is still learning. You can get a lot of bite with the pick. That's what I noticed. Getting the harmonics much easier now. And the thicker pick, I used to think the thinner pick would be easier to pick across strings, like as you're crossing over. Actually, the thicker pick is easier. You'd be surprised. The thin pick will move back and forth. And when you're picking fast, I think what it is, when you get up to the next pick, the pick is still kind of flimsy, and it creates a timing issue. And I was having a lot of problems with timing, picking fast. And I used those picks for 20 years. And I couldn't really play any better than I was playing. I kept having timing issues when I played faster. So with these picks, I think that I got a little bit better as far as my timing. And I'm so bad, I'll just sit at home and I'll sit and I'm just working on my timing, trying to get the note sequence right. And start out slow like I did. And that sucks because you can hear I'm kind of it shouldn't do that. It should be like a metronome going really fast. If you want that cadence in it, then you need to add the cadence. But if you're just trying to get speed, it should be with a metronome. And it's harder than you think. That's not actually right.
Nicholas said, "Show how you tap and hide the pick."
Yeah, I tap. If you watch me, I do not use this finger. So I'm holding the pick like that. So you can tuck it and be pretty quick. Now, if you're doing the double tap thing, you're going to have to learn to tap with these two fingers, and do your that gets hard because you can't release pressure on your center. There's pros and cons to every way that you learn. A guy showed me that a long time ago, and even though I'm still learning, at that time I maybe have been playing maybe 5 years, and he was like, if you learn to pick like this, it frees this finger up to do other things. But he was good. He'd sit and he could tap harmonics and keep his pick. So he'd sit here and be picking fast and sit with this finger. The dude was stupid good. I never could. I was never coordinated enough to be able to do that. And I would sit and play it, and people kind of look at it. What the hell are you doing? And I've heard a guy do it. I know you can do it. I can't. And he had the wrist thing down too. He would take his wrist and just, he would plant his pinky somewhere on the guitar, and his wrist would just vibrate. He was a really fantastic musician. Everyone has one that you looked up to when you started playing, and you were kind of like, wow, that's where I want to be. I don't think I ever achieved that level of playing ability. He was really good. But again, I was fortunate. I was able to be around a lot of really talented guitar players. So, if you watch people and you're around people that are better than you, don't look at it that they're better than you. That's where you want to be. That's where you're going to learn. If you're the best guitar player in your group, yeah, I'm sure it makes you feel good, but it's slowing you down. Get with players that are far better than you, that push you, and that you can watch. Their technique, their style, or their work habits, whatever it is, and be around it. If you're around them and you play with them, you will be surprised at how quickly you will progress because you're playing with someone that's on a better level than you. And that person shouldn't lower their playing standard. They tell them, you play you. I will figure it out and I will adjust to get to that level. And that'll push you to get there. And that's what happened to me. And like I said, my issue was retention, just learning, remembering songs. I always had that problem with just remembering songs. And I don't think I'm the only one. I've talked to other musicians that were like, yeah, we played this song and we went here and I just had a complete brain fart. Couldn't remember a darn thing about that song. It was a song we played a lot. Issue is, I did that a lot. I would always seem to happen at the very worst time to play. I never really had amp failure problems or equipment problems. I did play with some guys. I get it. It's a financial burden, music, especially then. Um, at the time, I was renting, didn't own my own home, had rent, trying to work, trying to put food on the table, and then also work and play bars and buy decent equipment that's good enough to play in the bar. A couple guys had bad amps, and to get to bar volume before we were big enough to have a sound guy, it just sounded awful. But they were talented guitar players, but they had an awful guitar amp. And great guitar, but a piece of crap amp. It'd be far better for you to have a really inexpensive guitar and a nice amplifier. And I say this a lot. Your amplifier is probably one of the most important things when you're, especially if you're out playing out. Don't be overly concerned about your guitar. Get a guitar that's comfortable to play, that's not going to hurt your hands, that's ergonomic, that's not heavy. That's it. Put your money in whatever guitar system you want to use, whether it's going to be a Line 6 or a Stadium or, a Quad Cortex. Get that system to where you can hear yourself playing and you get whatever you need, whether it's to a powered FRR cabinet or you're using a powered PA speaker or whatever the sound guy has. Make that system work. Get your microphone, get that good, because your guitar is lesser on the priority scale, if that makes sense. It really depends on where you're playing. If you're playing and you have to have an amplifier, um, that does change things. A good amplifier can cost some money. I'm not going to lie to you, but there's good options out there. It depends. Most bars, I think you can get away with a 50-watt amplifier. I don't think you need anything more than 50 watts. And this is 52 watts. So if you're going solid state, I would say it would probably have to be 80-watt solid state to not have an issue. Anything past that, you don't need even the 50-watt, because you're going to put a mic in front of the cabinet, or you're going to go direct of house to a mixing console to a PA. So that's another issue. When you're first starting out, you got to have this big amplifier, but then when you get bigger, you really don't need the amplifier. That's why I tell a lot of people, maybe you should just do, whether it's a Line 6 stomp or a Quad Cortex, something like that, okay? And then go right out to an FRR cabinet. Now, I don't necessarily think that's the best way to go. I would, as a working musician, I would tell you just get some nice PA speakers, powered PA speakers. You can, as the band grows, you can use those PA speakers as monitors later on. But it's good enough for you to go out and play, okay, in that bar. You'd only need one unless you want to do stereo, and that's kind of a waste of time. But you could put one on each side of the stage, and that's your rig. You got your guitar, your Quad Cortex, and 2 of those speakers. There's your guitar rig. When you decide to actually either go power amp or whatever you want to do, or you want to take your Quad Cortex and buy the Seymour Duncan Class D power amp to put on your board and then get a cabinet, you can repurpose your powered PA speakers to the band so you can hear. Or maybe you're playing in a smaller bar and that becomes your PA speakers. Some of these smaller PA speakers are 700 to 800 watts. 2 of those in a small bar is really all you need. So repurpose that, buy you a sub. There's your PA. That's at least your speakers. So I'm really on the fence on which way to go on as far as an amplifier, especially if you're starting to play out. Do you need an amplifier? I would say nowadays, I would just I this quad cortex. I think I want one. I would get a quad cortex and a powered PA speaker. There's your guitar rig, and I would come out of the headphone jack to the PA speaker, and I would free up my line out and my USB and all that for other purposes. Come out of your mains out, send that to front of house. And if you're not sending it to front of house, that's fine. You can send it to a console and then you can record yourself through the headphone jack and use your mains to your cabinets. But you got that headphone jack there. Don't forget about your headphone jack. You can use that headphone jack as another output. So a lot of times you'll have two main outs and your headphone jack. So that opens up a lot of possibilities. And it's small and it's compact. I remember carrying that amplifier there into bars, and it would kill you. I'd carry that thing into the bars, and then we had two JBL subwoofers. We had bass bins, mid bins, and horns. And then we had 6 Hafler amplifiers. Well, actually 7 Hafler amplifiers, and my rack of compressors, limiters, gates, and effects. And it would take us about 3 hours. And that was with the rack was all pre-wired, and we'd pull the cables out and run to certain things. We had it down to a system. And it would take us about 3 hours to unload the truck and get everything up and running before we could do a sound check. That's unheard of. You know, it would take me 15, 20 minutes to get my guitar amp going. By the time I set up my microphone, got my X15, because I was running 2 of them, my 2 X15 floorboards on the floor, got my amp to where I wasn't bouncing funny in the corner on the stage, pull it out from the wall, or take the moving blankets in the truck and pack the back so I didn't get this standing wave bouncing off the back wall forward. So we would that's another trick. You got moving blankets in your van. They're great for the drummer, and they're great to pad the hard spots on the stage behind you if you're playing on places that have a crappy stage. Put that stuff behind your amp. Pull your amp a couple feet back. Put those moving blankets up. It makes a big difference. It gets rid of that boom and all that reflection that you get. I mean, it's all plywood. Usually it's a metal stage with a plywood floor, and you usually have tongue and groove or something dumb that the bar put in on the stage behind. It's all solid surfacing. So you need something to kind of absorb some of that. So take those moving blankets and stack them up or do whatever you need to do behind the cabinets. It does make a difference. You have it. Why not use it?
Time
So
Surfing
we were
Alien.
big on that.
Time Surfing Alien said he found out today that they'll be welcoming a granddaughter in September.
I have not received that call, but I know it's coming for me to be a grandpa. Congratulations, man. That's awesome. Like I said, I haven't crossed that bridge yet, but I know it's coming.
Mr. Fat said, when you were playing live, original and covers, have you ever come close to getting a record deal during your era?
No, was with a lot of different people that did, but me personally, no. We were always a solid second rate, if that makes sense. We didn't have the ability to be the headlining show. We just wasn't there. And we were a good band. But in Northern Virginia with Shalley Acres and what was that bar I just was talking about at Shenandoah?
Silver Dollar?
No. Up in Baltimore. Hammerjacks.
Oh, yeah, Hammerjacks.
Hammerjacks. To get in those places, if we got in there, we were second. We were an opening act. As a headlining act, we couldn't get it. You just had to be a next level musician. And now a lot of that, that's what made you good. There was a band called Amazing Grace. I don't. I guess nowadays you could probably find their music. They were a hard rock band. The band was so freaking awesome, man. They were opening up for Winger and somebody else, and they were the first opening act, and they were going to play at Honey Bears up in West Virginia, and something happened to the center act, and they were looking for a local band, and we were thinking about doing it, but we just wasn't to that level. I can't remember whether it was Terry Miller or I think at the time, what's his name that went to Ugly Kid Joe? What it was, Wrathchild America. I think they had already kind of dissolved, and what's his name? The drummer had already went to Ugly Kid Joe. I'm trying. I know Kix wasn't involved in it because those guys had already went out big time on the road. Um, but anyway, they were thinking about that. But we went to the show,
Are you
and
talking
this,
about Shannon?
yeah, Shannon Larkin. That's it. Shannon, I think, had already went to Ugly Kid Joe for the album that had "I Hate Everything About You." That's when he transferred over there. I don't think Shannon had too much to do with that album. I think their original drummer had kind of done most of the studio work, and there was a falling out, and he left Wrathchild, which became Wrathchild America, to go with them. Um, so I don't know how much he had to do with that particular thing.
Is that Peavey cab the best sounding cab?
The Peavey,
Your Peavey cab.
I have two. Um, my black cab sounds good because it's old and it's been played a lot. Um, there is some validity to that, guys. These old cabinets, they say, just have a sound. That's true. That black PV Butcher cabinet there has Celestian greenbacks on it, and it has been played, and it has been played loudly. Um, it does something to the speakers. They get soft feeling. They just get a certain sound. And if I put new speakers in it, it just wouldn't sound like that. Even if I could find brand new old stock of those drivers sitting on a shelf somewhere, it still wouldn't sound the same. There's a difference though. You can get an old driver and it's just worn out from being beat and abused or got stuff spilled on it. I think I do have one bad driver when you really crank it. But all in all, for being 30 some years old, it's a great cabinet. The blonde cabinet on this side, the Penta cabinet, I think I tell everyone, if you're looking for an inexpensive four speaker cabinet and you don't mind open back, try to locate a PV Penta cabinet. They're getting harder to find because most people have the Penta head. Um, but if you don't have a head and you're looking for a head that does a bunch of different stuff, look into the PV Penta head. It was one of the first heads that had a dial where it had like a Marshall sound, then it had a Vox sound, then it had a Fender sound, and it's all tube. And it actually changes the preamp structure, the wiring. It was so far ahead of its time. This was before the Triple X and the Satriani PV signature model. This was before Eddie Van Halen's 61, whatever, 5150 amp. PV had the amps. That was a great amp. I think you can find them for about $1,100 with the cabinet on reverb. Awesome amplifier. And you just literally change a knob. The drawback is it's a 140 watt head. It's a monster. And when you put it on Marshall mode, you got to crank the snot out of that thing to get it to break up. And nowadays, there's just no place that you can take an amplifier like that and turn it up to the point where you get a good sound. Unless you have a reactive load that you can put on it. That would probably be an awesome cabinet to put a Variac or something on, make it room volume, but really load the amp down. But check them out. It's a PV Penta. These actually, the Penta was made by Celestian to PV spec. So it says Penta by Celestian on the back of the drivers. I like that cabinet. I like greenbacks, and I do like the cream with the C. I do like those. And the Mojo Tone makes a driver that I really like. And Eminence, the guy that plays something Walls, played that album that did all but different genres of music. That driver that he makes for Eminence is pretty good. It, your speakers are the biggest thing. I say it all the time. You want to change your amp. Like if I plug in my tube amp and I get a certain sound, if I just plug into this cabinet, it's completely different. It's 100% different. And this is my V30 cabinet here. As soon as I plug this cabinet in, I will lose volume and it instantly gets darker sounding. Instantly. Not a big V30 fan. uh, it's a very dark sounding driver. I think that's why that certain genre of music likes the V30. And you can probably dial it out. But for what my squirrel ears hear and how I'm used to setting up for greenbacks, you seem like you're turning your presence and your mid and your highs up more on the V30s to get them to break up the way I guess I like to hear it, if that makes sense. I like more of a mid focused. And the V30, it's a very bottom end driven. They just don't have the punch on the harmonics like the greenbacks and stuff like that. Now this is a model that we're using. There's no cabinet, there's no amp. This is all simulated guitar tonight. And I've really tried my best to get an emulation of my guitar cabinet. So you guys know, there for a couple of weeks we were putting mics in front of the cabinet. And I've tried to get this to sound very similar to my tube amp. It's got a nice breakup.
It is both Steve and BTM's birthday.
Ooh, yeah, we didn't go over birthdays yet. So happy birthday, guys. You said BTM?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, got 2 birthdays in one night. Guys, we're a small channel here. And if I see it's going like 30 to 40 on people watching. If you're just tuning in, tonight's hangout night. We just kind of talk guitars, talk gear. We just talk about whatever's in the chat. Thursday night is our review night. We always try to review a new product. Next Thursday, we do have another guitar to review. This is more of a guitar and product review channel. But we started doing live streams a little over a year and a half ago, and it's just so much fun. Coming in and hanging out and talking gear is what it's about. And the reason I bring this up is you don't have to be a subscriber to chat. You know, don't get me wrong. I want you to be a subscriber. But I want you to be a subscriber that gets it, that can come in, hang out, be cool, give your opinion, and talk. That's what it's about. It's not my way or the highway. It's why do you do it your way? You like Nicholas in the chat sending me these pics. I mean, completely changed me. And I would have never done that because I would go, oh, that pic is so thick, it's awful. And he was like, dude, give it 1 week. Do that. And I'm like, okay. Guy sent me some pics. He says this is what I need. And I listened to him. It didn't take me a week. Within 3 days, I'm like, yeah, he's 100% correct. I wouldn't have done that. You know, Steve in the chat, one of our moderators, just give me a tip this week on doing chapters in the videos. It's going to save me a tremendous amount of time. Does it work perfectly? Absolutely not. But it saves a tremendous amount of time. Would I have ever done that? No. This is the point. When you put a lot of people together that are creative and artists, man, you can just, instead of learning the hard way, they can tell you, hey, this is what I do. Try it. And you might try it and go, hey, you know, but you might go, wow, why didn't I ever, hear about this? And that's happened so many times, whether it's Kurt, Nicholas, Trucker Bob, hanging out with Trucker Bob at the Walmart parking lot because he's a truck driver. He comes in, hangs out for a little while, just chatting. It's like this channel is supposed to be like it used to be when you went to the music store and you hung out. You talk about what you bought today, what you're thinking about buying. And I'll let Linnell, you know what? I'm not even traversing down that. If she wants to say something about it, she can. Yeah. Oh, that's all I'm going to say. Um,
BTM
yeah,
said,
she's going to ignore me.
Celestion makes speakers. They are designed to be power soaks called the Peacekeepers, so you glow the tubes without a power soak.
I would never do that. I mean, if you want an inefficient speaker, buy JBL. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I mean, that's what it is. It's just an inefficient speaker. You can't design a speaker that's going to do. It's just the dB rating is awful, so you got to throw a lot of power on it to make it work. So it's probably someone built a really really bad speaker and they put R&D on it and they were like, how can we market this turd? I hate to say that, but that's what it is. It's an extremely inefficient speaker. Um, just save your money and buy you a nice unit that's designed to load the amplifier, and you'll be surprised. You can get one of those, and if you decide to go to your speaker cabinet, you can. It'll have an output, but a lot of these new ones will have IRs built into them. So you can load the amplifier to where it's pushing and it's screaming. It's loading the amplifier. It breaks up like an amplifier on 10, but then you don't have a cabinet. You can load an IR to it and then go to an interface or to a self-powered speaker. I think that Boss Waza one is pretty good. Then I forget. I'm not into those. Someone can make some suggestions on those. I think the Power Stage or Power whatever it is by Fryet is pretty good. And the one I'm thinking of is the one everyone crows about. It's like got a wood silver with like a Torlex kind of like box around it. They're about $1,000, but you can do so much more with them. There's other things you can do to cheat. If your amplifier has a gain control, you can turn back your gain controls. Like my tube power amp here has gain controls. Is it the same? No. But if you turn back your gain, then you really crank up the preamp to it. You're getting more preamp drive. Then if you're really having an issue with it, buy a lower wattage amp, buy a 20-watt amp. I think that's a little low to go in a bar with. But if you have a 30-watt amplifier and you're going in bars, that should be the sweet spot. Tell your drummer to calm down. Maybe buy him some dead ringers or some pads to put on his drum to calm him down. And now they make these cymbals that are a little quieter. You're playing smaller places and your drummer's got a full set of Zildjian thins and he's smashing them. You're not going to be playing there, especially now. Everyone wants a quiet stage. Yeah.
Good old Baggins said, I've been solid state my whole life and just got my first tube amp a couple weeks ago and I'm loving it.
I like tubes. I've always played tubes. Solid state is different than digital. So a solid state amp, which solid state amp did you buy? I always wanted a Roland stereo course. That's a solid state amp. Peavey made some awesome solid state amps.
He just got his first tube amp.
Oh, that's right.
He's been solid state his whole life.
Oh, which solid state amps did you do, and what tube amp did you buy?
And Mullet, the guitar guru, says, have you tried Avatar Helitone speakers? He has them in his Marshall 900 cab.
I have not. I'm kind of limited. I've tried 2 different versions of the Eminence the China-made V30s that everyone claims suck, and I'm gonna have to. I'm not gonna say I've never played the UK version.
I think I said Helitown. It's Helitone.
Oh, I have those, the Pentas, Greenbacks, and of course I've played Blue Marvels by Peavey. I've played Sheffields. Everyone poo-pooed about the Sheffields. I didn't think the Sheffields were horrible speakers, but I remember, talking to people, darn Sheffield cabinet junk, and they'd buy a 5150 and it come with Sheffields. The first thing to do is rip the Sheffields out. You could buy Sheffields for $30 a piece back in the day because nobody wanted them. Everyone just it's a Sheffield. Now I think people are starting to go, hey, this actually wasn't a bad speaker. Speakers are taste. And once you find one that you like, you want to kind of stick with it because speakers have a certain EQ curve on how they absorb certain things. I'm not saying that it'll screw you up, but you get familiar with what your knobs on your amplifier do. So if you do drastic changes, it'll kind of throw you because it changes the way your amplifier reacts. So find something that you can work with, and if it works for you, man, that's all it counts.
You were asking what amp he got. He said he's a bass player. He had a Trace Elliott solid state amp for years and just got an Ampeg V4B with a 1x15 cab.
Well, the Trace Elliott's an awesome amp too, but yeah, an Ampeg thumps, dude. I played with a guy where they had an Ampeg, and that was the loudest freaking monstrosity I'd ever played. I mean, that thing just it's not that it was loud. I'm not saying that, but I'd played with other bass players that were that loud, but his amp just punched you. It made your chest vibrate. And when he'd slap bass, that you could feel, it felt like the kick drum smacking you. And that was an Ampeg.
And
that thing was stupid.
And the Avatar Helitone speakers are relabeled Celestion speakers.
Yeah. You get a lot of that, guys. Celestion makes more than Celestion. They're a speaker company. So, they got to keep their employees busy. So if they start slowing down and this or that, and they build a manufacturing plant up to X, they can't afford to slow down because when they get orders, they have to have those employees there. So a lot of these larger companies will start outsourcing, not outsourcing. They'll start, bidding work for other speaker companies to keep their production line moving. And sometimes it's weird things. Celestion makes hi-fi drivers too. A lot of people don't know that. It's not really, just guitar speakers. They make high-end home entertainment and loudspeakers. You just don't really hear too much about them. Exact same thing with Klipsch. You don't hear too much about the original Klipsch drivers because they're expensive. I think like the Haflers and stuff like that, they're kind of gone now. Rockford Fosgate's kind of killed them. Klipsch, they're not the company they used to be. I have a pair of Wolfdales, and I know what you guys are. Holy mackerel, Wolfdales. Yeah, but I'll never have to buy speakers ever again. These Wolfdales, they're going to be working when I'm dead and gone. It's a 15-inch main driver with a very large dual compression horn. So if the horn ever does fail, I just need to take it apart, spin the driver off, turn it around 180 degrees, throw it back on, and it's ready to rock and roll again. So these were array drivers originally in a church, and I picked them up cheap when they upgraded. I don't know why they would get rid of these because they had 4 on each side, and they said they needed a bigger system. I would have just left the Wolfdales up and bought maybe 4 more EVs or whatever and put on either side. But they decided to trade them in, and I wanted them all, but I couldn't afford it. So I bought 2, and I got them at 25% off, which was still really expensive for Wolfdales. when you get a good driver, just like the greenbacks here, as long as you treat them right, the driver's going to last, and they'll get to a sweet spot where they just sound awesome. And these Wolfdales are like that. They've been driven hard, but they haven't been overdriven, and they didn't get a bunch of feedback and a bunch of distortion run through them. The drivers sound good, and any driver is like that. If you throw a bunch of crap to it, noise, distortion, feedback, that'll kill a driver really quick. Just try to eliminate that. Power is not what kills your speaker. It's all the other crap in your signal. That's what kills it.
Is it Vox time?
I'm pretty sure it is Vox time. What are we at?
9:15.
Ooh, yes. So if you're not familiar with this channel, guys, we usually stream about 2.5 hours. So we always take a break, and that allows people to hit the restroom, okay? Get a snack, get something to drink. And that also allows the chat, because a lot of times I can't pull up the chat and do everything else. That'll allow people to type in the chat the next topic. Tonight we're just kind of off the rails. We're talking whatever. That's why it's called a gear hangout night, guys. Let's go move on to the next conversation. And if you've been checking out some of the videos, you'll notice we did not have chapters in our videos. I am going back. Okay, I've only made it back about a month. We got a lot of videos. All the pre-recorded videos do have chapters. So I want to go back because a lot of people are finding it entertaining to go back and listen to some of the old streams. So I am putting chapters in some of the videos. I'm hoping everyone will go back if you're new and catch some of the live streams. Don't necessarily go by the title, because like tonight, we've talked about a bunch of different stuff. So click on the video, go through the chapters, and if there's something in there that you're interested in, I think you'll find it really cool. And before we take a break, I think really, really soon, guys, we're going to have a very talented, extremely talented person come on our stream, and he's going to give you a synopsis of his time in music, and I think, and doing repairs on guitars. He's done it all, guys. Very talented person. I'm hoping we can get something done in the next 3 weeks. So look forward to that. I will post his name, who it's going to be. And if you want to join the stream, we're always looking for people that can contribute, that have a story to tell, and just like to talk gear. And that's what we're doing here. Just talk gear and be yourself. That's what it's about. So I did talk to him, and we're going to work something out. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, he can come on and you can get a fresh perspective on a lot of things that maybe I've said that you guys are like, I don't necessarily agree with that. It was something funny posted.
Jupe said, "Don't forget to use the toilet paper."
Exactly. It's going to be a fresh point of view. I guess that's my point. So I think it's going to be cool. Somebody that can come in with a new point of view and a different way of doing things and a different way of approaching the guitar. So I think that's going to be cool. All right, guys, post what you guys want to go over next, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes, something like that. And if you gave a super chat, thank you. And you didn't have to subscribe to chat, but I want you to subscribe, and please go down, guys, hit the thumbs up button so it pushes it out. We've had a lot of people come and go in the stream, so we need more people to find out about the channel and about what we do here. All right, guys, I'm going to hit the break scene, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes. All right, guys. I do want to kind of go over some of the changes. I told everyone that I would keep everyone apprised on what was going on. So let me pull some of this stuff up. The first thing I want to kind of go over is the wing. So this is it. This is as consolidated as I can make the stream that we're using. This is my microphone, Linnell's microphone, the second mic behind me. The Yamaha amp is right here. And we have the HX Stomp right here. And this is showing channels all the way up to 16. Here's the computer input. And that's it. Our main is right here. And keep in mind, every channel on the wing, see how we have double lines of green here? Every channel on the wing is stereo. So unless it's set up, okay, it is a stereo channel. See how that's set up? So those are the changes in the wing. It's as simple as I can get it. We did eventually get the clicking and all the noises resolved. It took a little time, but I did get it. The next issue I'm having, guys, is with the HX Stomp. I will show you what we have there as well. Let me maximize the HX Stomp. I'll go back to this one. So here's our HX Stomp. Now, this is our high gain, what we were playing today. This channel works. The drawback I'm having is my dirt channel and my clean channel. With the new routing, it did change the way these two channels sounded, and I'm having a routing issue. And I don't even know how to explain it. It's almost like I'm getting zero output on either one of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save my high gain preset that I have, and I'm going to do a factory reset on the unit, then load my high gain sound back in. And maybe I've pushed a button or done something to it to mess up these. But it doesn't matter what channel I pick. It seems like I've messed something up on all these except this channel. I don't know what I've done. But I have really fixed it really good. I've fixed it to the point where I can't get any output on those. And of course, I did go to the right-hand side where it says output, and I looked and made sure I had everything on. There's something peculiar I've switched and done. So I didn't have any time this week to really get on the forums and check it out. That's why if we go back to Wing Edit, let's go back to the Wing Edit.
Got a super chat.
Oh, thank you so much. Who gave super chat?
Devastator. He said it's for Jupe security system.
Wow. So right here we can see I've got the THR10 in. Eventually, once I get the HX Stomp here working and doing what it's supposed to do, these two channels will be eliminated, and we're going to put the Akai right in here. The Akai will probably go 4 or 5 somewhere in here. And I'll still have 2 channels open for something else. But I definitely want to get the Akai up and going. Maybe this week, since now the desk is cleared. Now that I got the desk cleared, I should be able to put the Akai back up here. This rack sticks way forward. So what I was thinking about, none of this is being used anymore. So I may have to take some of my rack equipment and put it downstairs with some of my other rack equipment that I no longer use, and get the wing rack put in the rack over here and remove the stuff I'm not using, consolidate even more than just have the computer monitor and my Akai workstation right here. Let me switch cameras to get a little bit better idea of how much room there actually is. So if you look, there's only about 6 inches here. So I need to get this relocated. That was my thought. Just didn't have enough time to do it because, again, I have to redo all my cables. So I think that's what I just need to do. The equipment that I have over here, I'll probably repurpose my effects units and put down at the bottom. But all my compressors, my limiters, mic preamps, they can all disappear. They really can. So I can keep my 4 units up there, keep my global time clock, put the wing rack in there, and still have plenty of room for expansion. And like Kurt, I am seriously considering a rack-mounted Helix. The price is dropping on those, and it's half the price of an Axifex. Well, almost. If it hits half the price of an Axifex, I'll pull the trigger. If it gets to $1,250, yeah, I'll pull the trigger on it. Right now, it's $1,499. I don't know. You know, I think I can make it work because how I would use the Helix, you know, the amp modeling's cool. I would definitely use the amp modeling. But I would take my Synergy rack mount unit, my SYN2 with my 2 preamps, and I would do the 4-wire method. And I would have all the benefits of the IRs and all that, but still be able to use a tube preamplifier. And I could just run those 2 pieces right into the wing as my amplifier. It would be like the Line 6 stomp with a tube preamp on it, you know, times 30, because you got a lot more processing power. I think that would make me a heck of a rig. I mean, it really would. That would make it eliminates all the old issues that I have with my art. And right now, I just got to get past this blanket sound that the Line 6 stuff has. Once I know I can get it out in the Line 6 stomp, which I know you can. I've heard presets. It can sound good. I just got to learn it. Once I get past this little hump, get the wing rack paid off, that's going to be something that I'm going to consider. Then, believe it or not, guys, this will be pretty much a backup amplifier. I'll run it back. If you go back and watch the video when I ran the tube amp when we did guitar reviews, I will set the tube amp back up the way it used to be. I'll pull the Synergy Friedman and Sedano unit out and just use the tube preamp in the art. And it's, believe it or not, it's actually a pretty good tube preamp in that. Got tons of guitar reviews using that amplifier. So it'll revert back to the way it was for 20 some years. And then I'll have my new rig with my wing rack and everything. I can fit everything very easily in the rack, even after expanding, doing all that. And that really shrinks my working room down. Now my desktop can just be for the Akai and my 2 monitors. I haven't done the other monitor solely because the wing rack is sitting right here. So I can't do much because the wing rack is taking up this whole end of the board of my desk. And you can say I got everything working. I just need to do a little bit more consolidating, and that's what it's about. I'm learning, you know, to just really grasp this new direction, if that makes sense. I think that would really take it to the next level. It really would. I mean, I hear the difference just right now running the HX Stomp. This is just the HX Stomp. There's no amp. I can live with that. I think the distortion's a little scratchy sounding, um, but the effects are decent. And I'd really just started, even though I've had that unit for 2 years, I've really just started diving into learning how to program it and what makes it tick. And I'm really still learning. There's some of the controls in that I'm still not really sure what it's doing in the signal path. So I'm still trying to learn what it's doing when I put certain things in front of other things and how to route it and make it do what I want it to do. I'm still learning, and I know the line 6 that I have, the little HX stomp, is extremely limited. It doesn't have, like, if I pick certain effects, I can only have 3 or 4 effects because it takes so much processing power. And some of the effects I can max it out. I can have 8 different things on. But some of the things you pick really takes its resources. So if I like do a tri-stereo chorus, which I found, I can do that, a reverb, a delay, an amp, and a boost pedal. That's it. And I know that sounds like a lot, but you can't have a delay. Well, you can use a simple delay. You got to watch. Once you use that tri-stereo chorus, you've got to pick a simpler delay because you got your amp model, and then you have your distortion pedal. So you really can't have that really fancy chorus and one of the fancy delays and a reverb. So you got to use like the simple delay, tri-stereo chorus, and the other delay sounds better, but it won't let you pick it. It blacks it out because it doesn't have the processing power to have that delay and this chorus. In the rack mount module, I don't think you'd have that problem. It's a lot more processing power. If there's anyone in the chat that has the Helix rack mount, please post and let me know what the limitations are as far as effects in the unit. And are you consciously picking effects because of its limitations, its processing power? Are you forced to degrade your delay because you're using this course? Or as long as you stick with 5 or 6 effects, you can pretty much pick anything you want. I'm kind of curious. I don't know anyone that has one, so I'm looking for firsthand experience on what the unit does. Looking at the chat. Are we missing anything, hon?
Kurt says he has the Helix plug-in.
Oh, he has the Helix plug-in. See, I don't know how that works, the Helix plug-in. I would assume that you'd have to have the whole rack unit. I can't do a plug-in probably to that point. Like I can have the USB on the wing do plug-ins in the computer. But if I do that, it takes up all the system resources in the computer to eliminate the legacy. Then I can't stream. So what I've been hearing people are doing, they build a specific computer just for effects. And the effects run through that computer and control the effects in the wing.
Kurt has Helix native.
Oh, native. Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with it. I need to make a change. I know that. But right now, we've got a couple of things that I think are going to hold a priority, like one, a camera. Even though I've got the other cameras working, this is the only camera I have that doesn't flicker and carry on and turn gray. So if I switch to this camera, one of these 2 cameras, whether it's this camera or the other camera that's over here, they turn gray. So it'll flash out and do weird things. Let me switch over to the other camera. But if you look at the image quality, look at how sharp things look now. Look at the sharp image. Okay. Linnell's having a sneezing fit.
Sorry.
She no longer has her mute button. So look at the image quality here on those 2 cameras. Now I'm going to switch. This is the exact same camera. The image quality, look at how fuzzy things are in the back, kind of smoky looking. It's not crisp. All 3 cameras on the exact same setting. Whatever happens to the Mevo when you hardwire it just loses quality. And then the wireless cameras get that gray effect. They flash and they do something strange. I could live with this image quality on this camera if it didn't go gray. And now it's not going to do it because I'm talking about it going gray. Yeah, see, now tonight they're being hay, but if you watch the stream, you guys have seen them act up. So we're going to break down and buy some cameras probably next. And I'm thinking maybe by Black Friday, we'll see the Helix rack go on sale. I'm thinking that might be a time where Line 6 Yamaha goes, okay, let's put these on blowout or something. And if that happens, I'll probably pick one up then. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I think that would be a nice system. And then if someone asked me to play out, I'm sure I could write some simpler models, and I can transfer those models over to the HX Stomp and just come out of the headphone jack to a little powered speaker for me on stage, and then go straight to the PA system. I was thinking about it; it just makes sense. Now, again, you got processing limitations, but I could probably engineer sounds in the main unit that I like and do simpler versions to transfer over onto the Stomp. But I don't think this is horrible, what I've got here. That's not horrible. It's got decent breakup, and it's not overly scratchy. These new tuners are awesome. These pickups do really well. I'm highly impressed. This guitar took the modifications really well. It took it really well. I'm not getting a lot of flub on the low E. And this is a 56 on the low E, so it's not. It does pretty good. So I'm getting it. It's just been slow. If I would have taken everyone's advice much earlier, I would have taken the time. I could have done this with the old Mackie board. The problem is I was just losing so many channels due to the the age of the board and the dirty contacts in it. And we were kind of maxed out. I mean, I showed you the wing edit. I'm not using anything in the wing. Um, Hardly any of the processing. Everything's still there. So if you're on the fence and you're thinking about buying a wing, I have to say it's quite impressive on what the thing actually can do. It has definitely simplified things, especially now that I don't have the AGOE up here, and it's doing everything. It is literally doing everything. And I'm looking at it as if I get the Helix rack mount, I think that's a 2U. Is that 2U? So it might be a 3U unit. I'm not too sure. But I can definitely fit it all on a 12U. Everything. My Synergy rack, the Helix, the wing, and the P16. And I probably could still get my MIDI time clock in there. And that's going from a 20 some U unit plus a 12U unit all the way down to a 12 or a 13U. That's insane. And you can see I got stuff stacked up there that's not even in. Don't need any of it. It's kind of crazy. All right, I'm going to open up the chat and see what you guys are saying. Ooh. The annoying critic sounds great. Yeah, I think it. Oh, gotta retune. And I tried to take the time to get the open notes to ring out. And I think I was pretty successful getting the clarity on the open notes. I think it works pretty good.
Steve said, Avery, check the eBay link in Discord.
Steve says check the eBay link in Discord. Discord. Wow, I got a lot of things up on the window. That's crazy. eBay link in Discord. What room did he put that in?
Guitar and music equipment.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. Visit site. Okay, let's go to the Discord. So here's ooh. Did I just screw all that up? I probably did. Yeah. Hold on for a second. Hit the wrong button, guys. All right, it's that one. Yeah, I can't figure out where. Oh, what window, man? That one. It should still be working. $700. Line 6 Helix guitar rack. Helix rack UPC. I wonder which one this is. I don't know how many hardware changes they've made over the years. Boy, it looks nice. 15 hours and 18 minutes. Yeah. Um, I don't have $700 to do that right now. Item is in good overall condition and has been tested and working. Please refer to pictures. It looks good. Wow. Yeah, that's definitely an awesome price. Um, I just don't have $700 right now to do it. Oh, wait a minute. Let's go back. I want to see something. Does it say what the shipping would be? Fee standard shipping. See details. Update. It's not telling me what the shipping would be. I wonder what the shipping would actually be. That would be my only fear on what the shipping would be on that. Free standard shipping. So I guess that means it's like snail mail. They're not going to charge you if they ship it standard. My little squirrel brain sometimes. Yeah, I just don't have it right now. That is a heck of a buy though. I mean, I'll have it in maybe a month or so because, like I said, I got to work tomorrow. We've taken on a little side project. So over the next 3 or 4 weeks, I'm going to be working Sundays. Um, uh, yeah, if that one's on sale for 700, another one will come. That's how I kind of look at things. It's not like it's the end of the world. There will be another one that comes up for $700. But that's that. There you go, Kurt. You were also looking at one. I don't know what you think about that one, Kurt, but that's definitely cheap. I'll let Kurt put in there what he's thinking, but that's definitely a good price. Um, Dave, Don, or anything, Leo, James, his guitars, small amps, etc. It's all excellent. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just don't have $700 right now. Something that will take me 10 years to figure out. Zach Zombie must be talking about the rack mount module. Um, Believe it or not, Zach, some of that stuff isn't horrible. It's a lot easier to program than my old ART that just had a 2-line window and everything was abbreviated. Those things, I remember when I first got, hey, Johnny Bean, I remember when I first got my ART and I was like, holy mackerel, what is ECT? Everything was abbreviated. It was because it was consolidated down to this little teeny weeny screen. Nowadays, you plug this stuff into the computer like the wing rack, you get this big, huge computer screen with all the options, and it's so much easier with the computers that we have.
Kurt mentioned earlier. He said he had there's a local Helix rack for $800 and it includes a foot controller.
Oh, wow. That's, yeah, maybe I should look into the used market instead of buying a new one. And I think that goes for guitars too. A lot of times, we buy a lot of new guitars here, but in reality, if you can find a used one, someone's already taken the hit. That's actually the smarter way to buy instruments, especially people like us that are just gear addicted. And we buy a guitar, play it for a couple months, sell it, buy something else. I am horrible for that. It would be much smarter, especially for guitars that I'm not buying for review, that I'm buying for myself. If I bought used, I would save a third. And you can find them that are mint. That if you're looking at a $1,500 guitar, you can find them all day long for 1,000 mint. I just always forget to go to Reverb or look. Well, I take that back. We have found some really good deals on Marketplace. that's where that PV Penta cabinet come. We stole that. I mean, I contacted the guy and said, I will be there immediately. It wasn't there long. As soon as I saw it come up, I was like, I'm jumping on that. And then Linnell, she gets on there and she scrolls through looking for good deals. So anything really, really good, we are paying attention. Uh, 800 with the controller is a stupid good deal because the controller is quite expensive. I don't really need a controller because I have two X15s. Let me go grab an X15. It's going to be filthy, but I'll show you what an X15 is. Holy shit. No, I can't even show that. That's so fucking dirty. Yeah, I'm not gonna show that. That some bitch looks like it's been in a dog hair war.
Wow, we just heard all that.
I'm not even gonna show it. That thing looks like it's been in a dog hair war. I have two of them, and the one downstairs would probably be the clean one. That one is in the corner in there, and whoo, oh my gosh, I think the dog was using that as a pillow. It's pretty bad. Yeah, that is a killer deal, Kurt. 800 with the foot controller. That's definitely the way to go. I need to get cameras before I do anything. So yeah, I don't know. I'll get on Reverb and look around. Kurt, is that on Reverb locally or is that like marketplace listing? What is that? Because I haven't even looked on like marketplace for something like that. I was gonna say, I just don't want to spend the dollar. Yeah, I'm feeling the exact same thing, Kurt. Yeah, marketplace. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that too. Um, we're kind of in a position where we're looking for a car for Linnell, and we've made some changes. So we really need to get things settled down here. We've made a lot of changes, just financial changes, and we're making too many changes too quickly. So I kind of want to get used to the way things are for a little bit, get settled in. And like I said, we're still making payments on the wing rack. And then Linnell picked up her guitar that she's going to make payments on. So right now we're pretty much spent on music gear as far as making payments on things. I think I have two more payments on the wing. And then at that point, they had my camera on sale, $200 off. So that's not going to be on sale now. So it'll be back up to a stupid price again. Sometimes, man, you got to be in the position to kind of jump on things when it goes on sale. The R8 went on sale with the lens for $1,625 with a 25 by 50 lens, battery pack, everything you needed. Just it was regularly like 1,900. Sweetwater dropped the price. It was for like 2 weeks. It's already ended now. And it was like 250 off. That's one of the times where you just got to have the money and just say, okay, that's a good deal. Just pull the trigger.
Kurt said he just spent $500 on Floyd Rose FRX and a new guitar and other toys for the studio.
Yeah. What are you thinking of the FRX? I know you posted pictures in Discord on the FRX. Does it have a firm feel? Does it hold tune well? Does it seem like it, what's your general thought of it? I have never played one, and I thought about putting one on my double cut with the P90s on it. I mean, that would really take that guitar to the next level. But I don't know how they feel. I don't know if it feels like a Floyd. Does it feel, more spongy like a Kaler? Does it feel like a Gibbsby? I've never even put my fingers on one. So I'm kind of curious. It's fantastic. Feels like a Kaler cam, super soft. Ooh. All right. I have two guitars that I could technically put one of those on. So it might be a project in the future, just something different, especially if it has the Kaler cam feel. We just saw a guitar on Marketplace that had the Kaler cam bridge on it. And I think it was a Charvel that Linnell found. I think it was like 550. It was in really good shape. It was kind of like, Uh, yeah, Jupe had some truck issues, so he's on the fence on the truck. Flutters like a dream. Yeah, I watched a couple YouTube channels saying they were highly impressed on the way it flutters. I've been playing the RGA a lot. Hold on for a second. Me flip flop guitars. I'm gonna mute this channel for the stomp. Let me grab my other guitar. Grab the old Schecter. I guess this will be the true test to the program that I wrote, and see if it was just wrote to be very friendly to the Ibanez, or if it's going to be something that works for all my guitars. You can tell I haven't played a tremolo guitar for a while, and that's funny for me because that's all I used to always play. Yeah, you can. It's not too bad. So that setting seems to be working well with this guitar too. Yeah, it works on both. I gotta if you guys know a good guitar tech, somebody can clean the potentiometers. You know, this is basically a new guitar, and I've noticed this is now see it's cleaning up. It's got some noise in the pots. I guess this guitar is getting oh my gosh, I guess this guitar is almost a year old now, guys. Imagine that. It's amazing how quick time flies. I still take the Dodge over the Ford. That's Devastator. I'm a Ford guy. That's Kurt. I don't know. I think they all have problems, guys. It's just like guitars. You know, once you get familiar, I can tell you right now, I've had more luck with Ford, with work trucks than Chevy. But my new transit van, the interface and the stereo and the Bluetooth and all that in it, yeah, it sucks. Um, It is the most clunky, slow. That's the best way of putting it. It's clunky, it's slow, it doesn't connect. When you start the vehicle, it takes about a minute for the radio system to come on. If you're watching or listening to something on Bluetooth, it doesn't remember it. So every time you get in your vehicle, you have to restart your phone for it to see it. It is awful. Um, my Toyota connected every time, no problems. You just get in the truck, start the truck, it see the phone, connect to it. Not this Ford. It has to be, your phone has to be restarted every time you get in the truck, and it's got to be after the truck's on. And if your phone's on and you turn the key off and you open the door and the radio cuts off, you have to restart your phone. It's awful. But other than that, I'm liking my Ford. It seems to be doing a good job. And the gas mileage, I guess I can't complain because it's full size. I'm getting about 16 miles to the gallon. So, I guess for what I'm carrying with all my tools in it, that's not hateful. Because the Toyota truck I had, granted, had pulled trailer, I would get 12 miles to the gallon. So am I carrying the same amount of tools? No, I'm carrying less. Don't have a big trailer behind it, but it's a lot more convenient, better gas mileage. I don't have to worry about trying to find a place to, pull in, park, and be able to get out of. So in my case, I kind of like my Ford. It seems to be working. I'm reading the chat. Freightliner. I was going to get a Freightliner a couple years ago. I was going to get a Freightliner Sprinter, and I backed out of the deal and ended up getting a Nissan NV high roof. But I did look at the Dodge Sprinter, and I forget what it was about the Freightliner that I liked the Freightliner a little better than the Dodge. And of course, the Mercedes one was the most expensive out of all of them. The Freightliner and the Mercedes is the same in the Sprinter. So I'm pretty sure the Freightliner is using the Mercedes engine, or maybe it's the Mercedes body and the Freightliner engine. I can't remember how that works. Fix it. Oh, Jupe's saying that he works on his own trucks. Man, that's but the problem. That's why you buy the older ones. Some of the new stuff, man, you if you don't have these high tech tools, you can't work on them. And a lot of the systems like Ford's EcoBoost, it's really hard to work on that fuel injection system. You have to have Ford Pacific parts to work on it, and a lot of that stuff, guys, it's engineered to do that. And I get it. You want to buy older vehicles, but at some point, the parts are going to be hard to get. Yeah, you can get brakes, tires, but it's all the other things. The window seals, latches, striker plates. It's all the dumb stuff that are on the vehicle that you're not going to be able to replace. And when it gets so old and the junkyards aren't selling parts off those vehicles anymore, they'll be crushed. And then you won't be able to go to the junkyard and get a wiper arm or a door striker or a door handle or a side glass or something that's proprietary to that truck. That's the issue. And there's always that, even with antique cars. A lot of times, some of that stuff just isn't remade, and you hunt to find that part. So there is a sweet spot. I think I talked about it a couple of times. I've been looking at like a 70s F550. I'd love to buy it. And you can get everything for that truck, all the new rubber, but it's very expensive. I mean, yeah, it's a simple truck, but you buy a truck like that, you pretty much have to rebuild the whole truck. Do I want a project like that? That's the thing. I look at guitar and music and my motorcycle. I don't really have enough time to do all those. So if I bought a truck like that, it would be hard for me to have the time to work on it. Exactly, Devastator. I can't, if I got to pick, I'd much rather be in here playing my guitar than underneath a 1970 Ford F550 puttering on it. Um, don't get me wrong, I like working on cars, but I think I'd rather be in my house or out on the porch playing my guitar, doing something like that than wrenching on a car. And I mean, I get it. If you're into cars, I got a couple friends that to them it's like music. They go out and wrench on their older cars, and that's their that's their thing. For me, it's music. I would say music holds that, and I like getting on the bike and getting with guys and riding out somewhere and getting a bite to eat. To me, that's relaxed time. Just get on the bike, head this direction, find a place to eat. Everyone goes in, eats, then you drive home or ride home. To me, that's relaxing because you get to look at the scenery. It's a different experience. You got the air on you. It's different. It's not like being in a car with your windows down. It's different. Um, we now got to turn into black and death metal. About as heavy as I can get, Trucker Bob, is drop tuning, and it's nothing like the stuff that you do, man. Yeah, you take it to the next level. I don't really do that. I'd like to do more alternative tuning, but it just comes down to time again. Like I said, I think I do pretty good with the time that I have. One of these days, going to find Avery playing black metal. I don't know. I'm sure I could tinker with it and learn some of it. Uh, I just never really played it, if that makes sense. I was playing a left-handed guitar today, right-handed, and I was trying to. Now this is how squirrel-brained I am. I was trying to play my chords like this, backwards. So pretend this is the low E and this is the high E, okay? And I was playing my D like that, and my G, and my C, and believe it or not, after about 5 minutes in the little acoustic room, I was like, if I did this for about 2 or 3 days, I think I could play this thing upside down, strung backwards. uh, have you guys ever tried that? Play a left-handed guitar, but don't play it with your left hand, play it with your right, but chord everything backwards. I don't know why. I started tinkering with it. I'm like, I wonder if I could do chords on this thing. And I mean, I know how to play guitar. I just got to tell my finger, hey, it's upside down. And it was actually a lot more difficult than I thought. But I don't know, maybe I didn't spend 5 minutes. Maybe after 2 or 3 minutes, I was able to do the D, the C, and the G pretty quickly. Of course, the A and the E was easy. But the G was the tough one, upside down. That one would take me some time. All right, guys. I see. Yeah, Trucker Bob's just saying you'd love the new tuning. Yeah. If I did more like slide guitar, there was a time where I really wanted to learn slide guitar, and I know some of those guys do some wild tuning with slide guitars. Um, maybe one day I'll get into slide guitar. It would definitely be cool to get one of those acoustics with the big metal tops on them. I think that would be awesome. I forget what those things are called. Give me a big old slide. I'll listen to that one guitar player. Forget he does a lot of slide work now. He was in Mr. Big. That guy's crazy good, but he does a lot of slide guitar. If I could play slide like he does, that would be cool. But I don't know. You got to have a higher action height too, because when I grabbed this guitar, the action's a lot lower on this guitar than my RGA. So when I first started playing it, it felt out of place because the action's so low on it. The RGA isn't my best playing guitar. It just has a feel that I like. This guitar frets and plays much easier, but I don't know. It's not that I don't like it. I like it too. I think the RGA teaches me how to play a little better. This is more forgiving and easier to play. I guess my little squirrel brain saying if I could play it on that guitar, it should be easier on this one. But I don't know how true that is. Because now playing this one, I'm finding myself lifting my fingers a little higher and overbending. So I don't know. I don't know if there's any truth to that as far as playability. I do agree, though. A couple of people will say, you know, resonator, exactly. Yeah, I think a resonator would be cool with a slide guitar. I think when I was playing in my bands, I played three guitars, and they were all three Peaveys, and they were set up pretty consistently, and they played about the same. So I didn't have that issue. Now I've got a Telecaster, an RGA, this model, and that's it out here. Oh, and my Vandenberg, and they're very different animals. Like the Telecaster doesn't feel like this guitar. Let me grab the Telecaster real quick. It's a completely different feel. And the whole point in having different guitars, and that's why I'm getting rid of some of my guitars. I have a lot of Super Strats. Um, you know, I think I want, if I'm going to have a couple different guitars, I want guitars that are completely different. You know, this is a Tele, and I don't really have a Tele. So I wanted a Tele, something utilitarian. It's a Telecaster. I've got my super duper super Strat. Then I've got my RGA, which is my budget guitar. And then I got a Telecaster that has dual humbuckers, the FMT. That's more like my Les Paul type guitar. Then I have a Nashville Strat. So I'm trying to pick guitars that have a completely different feel. Then I have an Epiphone Dot, which is my hollow body. Trying to get to that point, if that makes sense. All right, let's since I got it plugged in here, let's see what we got here. Of, of course, I'm not going to do any chicken picking. See, right there, that's my computer. I really need to do something on the shielding on that computer. The single coils, when I get next to the computer with the playing the model, it really makes it hum and carry on. But I like the sound of this one. Hear that? It's got a different feel and a different sound. Now I know it doesn't. It's thinner sounding than that guitar. It's a single coil, but it has a different feel, and it even though I'm playing it the same way, it has a different feel under my fingers and the way it frets. I can still dig into it, but like this guitar, the neck is like super thin. This one's not as thin, but it's not baseball chunky thick. So I'm digging the Telecaster, and I'm working towards more like that, having a variety of different guitars that have a completely different feel different structure. This is only like a 21 fret guitar. Very utilitarian. Um, this is my first true Telecaster, if that makes sense, that I've ever owned. I did have the Firefly Mad Cat for a while. I thought that was a great guitar. I shouldn't have actually sold that guitar. That was a great guitar. Um, but this guitar, I like it better than the Mad Cat, even though it's not as dressy. Um, I think it's a better made instrument, and I don't have to worry about the ball end frets. This has got conventional frets on it. This is just a better quality instrument. All right, guys. If you know, we usually do about 2.5 hours. We're at 2.5 hours. I want to thank everyone for coming in tonight and joining the stream. Next Thursday night, I can tell you right now, you guys definitely want to be here. We have an awesome guitar that we're going to review. And I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. I will post it the day before in Discord. I'll get the video up and running and do a link. I want to start trying to get the videos up a little earlier so people can see what's coming up on the channel. I think that might draw some new people in. This is an awesome instrument, and I think you guys want to come and check it out. It's going to be, yeah, Paul Gilbert. I'm looking up at the chat, and I know we talked about things, and Paul Gilbert, 100%. But come next week, next Thursday, we're going to review the guitar. And then in Discord, guys, try to give me some pointers on what you guys would like to see next as far as a guitar review. If we want to do a budget guitar or if we want to do a mid-price guitar. I'm leaning towards a budget guitar. I just don't really know what. Linnell is going to let me forget. Before we take off, guys, I want to go over something. Has anybody heard of this manufacturer? Anybody? Widowmaker guitars. This one right here looks really cool. Looks like it's got some kind of Wilkinson bridge for $234. Telly, Les Paul, some Tellys. Now this definitely looks like a Leo James type thing. There's a lot of things that's screaming Leo James on these. This top is screaming Leo James. This is, and this top. So I don't know who. I don't think Leo James makes his guitars, even though he says he does. So whoever's making Leo James, I got a feeling they may be making this company too.
That's supposed to be a father-son company.
Yeah, it might be a father-son company, but they're not building them. They're having them built somewhere and maybe importing them in and setting them up. That's a pretty wild looking headstock, reverse headstock on that. I'm looking at the finish on the guitar. That's what I'm looking at. That's pretty cool. So that's all they have up right now. Are these models. So I did click on About Us. I don't know if someone has any information on this brand, please let me know about it. We might order one of those if that makes sense, just to get on the channel and see what it is. We need to figure out where the guitar is made and who's making it for them, because at that price point, it's definitely not made here. He's doing what a lot of these companies do. He's sourcing it from China, bringing it in, maybe doing a setup on it and then reselling it or something of that nature. Exact same thing Firefly. Firefly doesn't make any guitars. They have 3 vendors that make their guitars for them. So I'm pretty sure they're doing the exact same thing. So if anyone wants to do some super sleuthing on that, try to figure out who's manufacturing, whether it's IYV or, that's, I think Vietnam is IYV. And then, of course, China. China has a lot of shops in China. So let me know in Discord if you guys want to do something like that. I think that might be our not this coming Thursday, but maybe upcoming review. Do another budget instrument. All right, guys. If you gave a super chat, I want to say thank you so much. That's what funds the channel. And if you're new here, you didn't have to subscribe to chat. We are trying to grow the channel, so I do want you to go down and hit the subscribe button. And if you're watching this video at a later date, please go down, leave a comment. Comments is what pushes YouTube for, on the videos, so it gets out to other people so they can discover the channel. This is what we do on Saturday nights. We just come in, and a lot of times it's me talking, and there's a completely different conversation going on in the chat. It usually takes about a day, maybe sometimes 2 days, for YouTube to upload the chat, because if you notice, there's no commercials. So YouTube is not going to prioritize this because it's not monetized. They can't make any money. So I've noticed it takes a little longer. If I hit monetize all the way through, it's usually done in about 4 or 5 hours. But unmonetized, sometimes it can take up to 2 days before they get the chat up. And once the chat comes up, I do monetize it. But there's usually no mid-roll commercials, supposedly. I watch my own videos, and seems like sometimes it's got a lot of ads, and then the next one there's an ad at the beginning, and then that's it. So it seems kind of strange when I go back and rewatch the videos. All right, guys. I want to thank everybody, and just so you know, in the Discord we have something new that we're trying. Okay. What is it? Next week? Is it next Saturday? Next Saturday is the end of our guitar giveaway. If you don't know, we're giving away a Gretsch. So you still have until Thursday night to enter, to win. And all you have to be is publicly subscribe to the channel. And you have to go over to Discord and say, yes, I'd like to be entered in the guitar giveaway. There's a guitar giveaway room. So go in there. If your YouTube name is different than your Discord name, please put, I go by such and such on YouTube. That way we can verify that you are publicly subscribed to the channel. And that's it. Doesn't cost you anything. It's free to enter. It's a Gretsch. It's a $319 matte price guitar, and you also get a Gator gig bag with it. If you want more information on it, go to the main channel, click on live videos, and scroll down the live videos until you see Gretsch Streamliner. It's purple. And that's our full detailed review on the guitar that you will receive. It's that guitar. So that's the giveaway for Thursday. Starting on Thursday, we're doing something new. Okay? We're going to do something new. We got another guitar giveaway that's going to be coming. Okay? But we're opening up a poll for something new, something that you, the viewer, can contribute into, and it'll be a much bigger prize on the end. We're not going to talk too much about it on YouTube. We are going to spin the wheel on YouTube and televise it. But as far as the rules and all that, you need to go over to Discord. Something that we're doing on the Discord, if that makes sense.
Are you sure you're spinning the wheel on YouTube?
I think we are. Unless someone could see that there'd be a legal issue with that. That's the only reason I'm not bringing it up, because we don't know the legal ramifications. I mean, it's 100% legal for us to do what we're doing. We just don't know how YouTube will treat it. And I think it just makes a lot of sense. And if you don't participate, you don't have to participate. But it's something that we wanted to do, because some people say, hey, can we do a $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 guitar giveaway? This channel really can't do that. But the way this is set up, we could probably do a far more expensive guitar. I'll leave it at that, and you can go over to the Discord and figure out what we're doing. Be very similar to the guitar giveaway, but at a much higher price point. We'll just leave it at that. And then not next month, but the following month will be the drawing for the free guitar again, the guitar giveaway. uh, so just keep that in mind. We're trying to grow the channel, trying to do new things. And if you go back and watch older videos, I am going back and adding chapters to the videos, but it's going to take time. So I'm going to work on that in the evenings, maybe one video a night or every other night, because I have several guitars in the basement that I need to get finished. And it's just too much for me to do all the editing, work on the guitars and the streams, and work as well. So it's been very busy here for the last month. All right. Again, I want to say thank you all. Go down, please hit the thumbs up button. And again, hit the subscribe button. It's completely free this week and next week and the week after that. Doesn't cost you a thing, and it really does help the channel. All right. We're going to do our 5-minute closing window. That allows you guys to say goodbye to everybody and then post comments on anything that you'd like the channel to do in the future. All right, guys, thanks again, and I'll see everyone Thursday night.